Hey guys, every time I'm on a trip or every time I'm camping, I find that I'm always tying different knots. And we've all been in that position before where we've been responsible for tying the knot and we go, what the heck do we tie? And it ends up just being knots on knots and a massive tangle. And there's that old saying, if you don't know knots, tie lots. And so today I figured it's a pretty good opportunity to share a couple of knots. So if you're in lockdown or at home, grab a bit of rope and practice along with me. These will hopefully be skills that you'll be able to use for the rest of your life. Even though I use knots all the time when I'm climbing, I also use them in everyday life. And without geeking out too much about knots, a good knot's easy to tie, does what it's designed to do, and afterwards it's easy to untie. All of the knots I'm going to show you are at least 1,000 years old, so it's pretty awesome that we're still using them today. The clove hitch is one of the first knots that I learned, and when I was young, Dad taught me to use it to tie surfboards onto the roof. The clove hitch is a constrictor knot, which means it tightens under load. It's also really easy to undo. It's a good knot to use to tie the starting end of your rope to the trailer or roof rack. To make things extra secure, I like to finish off the clove hitch with a half hitch. The bowline, sometimes called the king of knots. It's a great knot because even after it's been heavily loaded, it's still easy to untie. We use it all the time hauling gear on my climbing adventures, and I also used it a lot on my sea kayaking trips down in Tassie. It's my go-to knot when I need to make a camping clothesline. It's a great knot for hoisting things up in your shed or towing the kids around the yard on a ride-on mower. The double sheet bend's a great knot for joining two pieces of rope together, especially if they're different diameters. And we all know this happens all the time when you're out camping and you need the rope to just be a little bit longer. Once again, the reason this knot is perfect is because it's fit for purpose to join two bits of rope together. You'll notice all of these knots look really simple, and that's because they are. If a knot's hard to tie, it's probably a tangle. The trucker's hitch has been around for as long as people have needed to tie down heavy loads. If you can learn this knot, it's something you'll use for the rest of your life, tying down bikes, kayaks, or rubbish when you take it to the tip. There's many different versions of the trucker's hitch, but here's one that I use the most. The trucker's hitch is a special knot because it allows you to add extra tension to the load. You're essentially making a pulley system out of the rope alone. Once again, I secure this one off with two half hitches. How'd you go with those? Let me know in the comments. Some of those knots take a little bit of practice to get used to, and once you master them, you'll be able to show your friends and family, and you'll have something useful next time you need to tie a knot. Last thing I wanted to show you guys today is how I store my ropes. So basically putting a coil either side of your hand, and once there's a little bit of rope left over, wrapping it up a couple times up towards your hand, and feeding a bight or a loop of rope in through that little gap at the top and pulling it back over itself, and that'll just cinch it off. And that keeps your ropes organized. It's an awesome way to store them. They won't fall apart when you're handling them, and they'll be ready to use when you need them. Hope you guys enjoyed that today. I'll see you next week.